Good morning. Welcome our guest, Mr. Tim Rist. Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Albany Area Habitat for Humanity. Learn how you can be involved at albanyareahfh.org or visit them at the Restore, 1225 6th Street Southeast in Albany. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low cost and no cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Bosun Hub Digital Development encourages you. Join in supporting Walk to End Alzheimer's. ALZ.org. Adams Rib Smokehouse, 1210 State Street, Salem, Oregon, 503-362-2194. AdamsRibSmokehouse.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Tim Rist on the web at DORE.LLC. Find your people, find your home.
And now, your hosts for The Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Ta-da! Here we are, live
Here we
on
go.
the Experience Local. Ben, I'm so excited, and Scott is still local, so glad to see you. There you are. You're looking brighter. Scott, how are you doing?
A little brighter, yeah. I'm doing good. I walked right past Tim's office on my way here. I dropped my car off to get oil changed. Walked over here. Now I'm set up in the mobile office right in front of Panera.
There you go. Good, but great place to be this early in the morning. And just so thankful for our local businesses, whether they're getting your oil changed or serving you food or doing real estate. We are just blessed. And we're going to have a great one on today with Mr. Tim Rist, who is blowing out the ceiling. You know, we talk about people bumping into their ceiling and being held down. He is not one of those types. He is blowing it out. If there's a ceiling that gets in his way, he just blows it out of the way and keeps moving.
I love it. We always have great folks with great inspirational stories for everyone to get motivated. Monday's a great time to get started, Russ. Every week right here on The Experience Local.
That's right. 9 a.m. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for your viewing and listening pleasure. And then this also converts to audio podcast, and it's on the Experience Radio Network. For more details, you can check out the show notes and all the information, but we're just thankful for that and so thankful for local radio. And just really the theme of the show, Scott's all about believers in business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Great to have Tim here. And if people are interested and want to learn more about the radio stations that we're on and find our YouTube page so they can subscribe, or Russ's YouTube page or mine, or connect with us on LinkedIn, go to local.theexperience.video.
Look at that. It magically appeared below you too, just as we were talking, just like it was almost intentionally done. So local.theexperience.video is the place. If you just want to go straight to our YouTube page and subscribe, you can go to the experience.video for that as well. But local.theexperience.video has it all. And so thankful for everybody being here. We are just blessed and honored. We want to remind you again, like I said, that we're here every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time live, but then not only the Experience Network, but then also available on podcast and on video podcast after we are done today. So you can always go back to that. Also, don't forget, we love it if you would please be so kind to just share this out. Tag your friends today. Let them know we're on. Boy, if you know Tim, let people know, because we have a great, amazing network that just loves people like Tim in local communities doing great things. So I think with that, Scott, let's just get the show started. What do you think?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to some inspiration from Tim.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a drum roll. Brrr, welcome, Mr. Tim Rist. Hey, Tim.
Hey, guys. Wow. What an introduction. I appreciate y'all.
You bet. Well,
love that great picture right behind you, by the way.
Yeah, Crater Lake. We like to introduce people to the state, and that's one of my favorite spots. I've got a few other scenes from, just different spots in Oregon all around our office, because that's one of the things we're passionate about is the adventure that comes with the real estate, the
Yes.
community that comes with the real estate, right? Not just the structure, the sticks and stones, but the actual life that comes with spaces that we broker.
Yeah. No, that is so awesome. In fact, you're kind of got the holistic approach to real estate, right? I mean, you're talking about everything that's involved with that. And I love that, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's back up and start with, hey, Tim, who's Tim Rist and what are you up to these days? What are you all about?
That's a great question. Tim Rist. Tim Rist was born and raised in a small town in Oregon, in between Brownsville and Shed, Oregon. And I have come from a large family. And who am I? I would say I am a father and a son and a friend and a spiritual sojourner who asks big questions and is not afraid to fail forward.
I love it. And between Brownsville and Shed, there's a lot of grass farms, but not
The
a lot.
grassy capital of the world, in fact.
Absolutely, right there. And if you're like me, you mourn not being able to go to the Shed Cafe for lunch or breakfast.
I know.
But Tim, give us a little idea how you got started, and when you swung the camera around to show some of the great pictures that you have, you shared that you've got a little bit of a technical geek side in you there. I saw some equipment. So tell us how you got started and what all of these things that you're involved in.
Okay, so how I got started in real estate, boy. Like many things in my life, the best things have come from a place of surrender and trust. And I had, there's a backstory. So really, real estate for me started very young in the construction world. I started from the blue collar approach. So I started working for my uncle when I was 12, just doing construction. He was building a house next door, and that ended up being a real gift to be able to watch a really elaborate construction process from start to finish, from, surveying to plotting a house out, to digging out a basement, to I dug a lot of French drain lines on this house that we built on this like 4,000 square foot house that my uncle built on a slope. Learned about ICF construction, learned about luxury construction really early. How to do things, measure 3 times, cut once was kind of my uncle's approach to most things. So he's very slow builder. But he's proud of what he built, and I was proud to help him alongside my brothers. And so I started college at 15 through a loophole to be able to do underage enrollment through community college. And by the time I graduated with my associates at 16, I was at an interesting opportunity to be able to transfer to Oregon State as a junior at 17. The problem was I didn't have any money. And I had been living on my own since 15. And, I was doing construction, making pizza, and doing farming, running a baler at night for Bossart. So I had, kind of 3 different jobs I'd circled between, but it was not enough to cut it for college tuition. So really my next evolution into entrepreneurship, and kind of the stepping stone before I built a real estate business was running a residential repainting business. And so I painted a lot of houses in college to put myself through. Ended up growing that business. By the time I was 19, I had over 100 employees, 30 crews all across the state of Oregon. And I thought I was the bee's knees, graduating college with honors at 19 with no debt, and a bunch of money in the bank, and having done it. Well, I thought I did it myself, but the truth is I had great mentors, great leaders, an amazing family, all these things that I had come to probably underappreciate. And then the result was I got, cripplingly injured. So I broke my back, and then I healed wrong, and I ended up herniating my L4, L5 disc. all in about a year period. And it just became, I had all these great job offers, but it just became untenable to keep going at the pace that I was going. And so humility found me early through injury and through, kind of slowly losing my ability to walk. Um, I was able to limp along with a herniated disc and a broken back by basically abandoning all responsibility and taking a trip down to Hawaii. I did a YWAM program through Youth with a Mission at their Kona base. I learned how to sail down there, and I'd end up, doing mission work in Palau, in a little island nation in Micronesia. And so that 6-month journey was kind of like the reset for me, where I unplugged myself from business, and that was really the crucible for when, the next evolution of my faith and the next evolution of surrender, I think, at that point in my life. So when I came back from that, long story short, to get into real estate, I came back from YWAM kind of with a similar disillusionment, and I think many people do, where you have all these incredible experiences, you see all these amazing things, and then you show up and you realize life, there's this spiritual narcissism that immediately has to get checked, because you realize, oh, wow, no one was waiting for me to come back. I self-funded my program. I didn't raise support, right? Like, life was going on, and I was just like, people were like, where did Tim go? And so I remember this like kind of disillusioning moments, whereas like I went from the high highs down to another of the lowest lows, because I had given all my money away. I thought I did everything right, but I came back with about $200 in the bank account. And at that point, like the weather patterns, I realized in the tropics made it so my sciatica and my herniated disc were manageable. As soon as I showed back up to the mainland, it was like the crippling chronic pain came on like 10x. And so it was really just a friend who walked up to me at a low point where I was trying to get back into painting houses, but I couldn't really walk. I couldn't really work more than an hour a day. And they just said, a friend walked up to me and said, "Hey, you thought about selling real estate?" And I had just finished kind of this sort of hands in the air prayer to the God, saying, what the heck am I supposed to do? I feel like I've done everything right. I've worked my butt off, and now I can't even walk, and I don't have any money, and I got nothing to show for all this effort. And real estate showed up as a lifeline. I had enough money in the bank account to sign up for a class, and so that's what I did.
Wow. It's been an amazing journey for you, Tim. And I think the story you just scratched the surface of the whole story. But I think that through it all, you've been on this journey with God and your faith. And talk a little bit about that, how that really affects you beyond what you just told us, but your current business and where you've come to where you're at now, and that journey that's really supporting you as God moves through it with you.
Yeah, I wish I could say that was the last time I'd have to deal with being like cripplingly humbled, right? I wish I could say that like I came out of my late teens, early 20s, going from thinking I was the bee's knees to then just realizing my effectiveness in life could be severed instantly by the severing of my spinal cord, or any small, what I learned is any small intrusion of a disc into the spinal cord eliminates Tim's ability to be a functional human in society, right? So it's like there's this really razor thin edge that my productivity and my power relies on, which is, my physical, emotional, spiritual health. And all three of those would come to be challenged to their core over the course of my 20s. I got into real estate. I think with my faith journey, what I realized was, although I had so many great intentions, one of the lessons that has had to be reoccurringly learned is that the path to chaos and pain is typically paved with good intentions. And so I think that as it relates to a faith journey, in full candor, I went through, what I thought was like a lifelong journey with wanting connection with God and wanting to understand Jesus's model for how to stay grafted into the Father, as he would say, studying the Bible meticulously and really having that be a core to my life, to then getting married and doing what I thought all the things were, like all the Christian things, right? I was a virgin when I got married at 21. I was chips all in with one gal. I was giving a lot of money away for my business. But the problem was there was these underlying pains and unresolved injuries in my heart that in some ways my faith gave me a hiding place for the real work that would lay dormant and wouldn't wouldn't rear its ugly head until even deeper levels of higher levels of climbing and even further levels of falling. And I think that the faith journey is a lifelong journey, right? And God's a big God to know. It's infinite and unknowable, and to think that I'm almost embarrassed actually thinking back in some ways on my spiritual arrogance to think that I had a corner on this thing at one point in my life or any moment in my life. And so I think like the real next level of humility was going through a divorce at the end of my 20s. After 7 years of marriage, thinking I would never be that guy, and then to come to the like impossible and painful decision to pull the plug on something that was something I put more effort into than any other thing in my life up to that point. And the subsequent deconstruction and reconstruction of faith that occurred, right? The subsequent deconstruction and reconstruction of community that occurred. When I filed for a divorce, I lost an attachment to a principle in my faith that I thought I would never lose. I lost a lot of friends. I was excommunicated from several communities in that process, and ended up like, I don't know, I'd say people talk about their rock bottom moment. And I think that, I don't know how you asked me an open-ended question, so I'm just going to roll with it. But I think that it all just culminated into kind of a rock bottom moment, literally at the bottom of a cave in Northern California for me, as it relates to my faith journey of like deconstructing down to zero, going from fervent evangelical Christianity and church leadership and leading worship for multiple churches and organizations across the world to questioning, to agnosticism, to a quick 3-week stint in nihilism and a total unbelief, to my questions and my sojourning not ever being willing to leave me in any one particular place for long because I want truth. And as it turned out, it's kind of emotional, it shows, but in my search for truth, what I found is truth finds me.
So I'll just remind everybody, today's believer in business is Tim Rist on The Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. Tim at Discover Oregon Real Estate, DORE.LLC. Tim, I painted houses in college too. That helped pay the bills. My final number of employees was me at the end.
Nice.
So yeah, great to hear that story. And thank you for being so open with everybody. We said that this was going to be an inspirational time, and I'm just overwhelmed with what we've heard from you. And one of the things that I heard is it reminds me back when I was in college and we were off at a retreat, and it was being one of the speakers was this amazing self-taught pianist. And the guy was just incredible. And he got up there and he told us as college students that, yeah, he has skill. He is a musician, but his identity is not in music. As he said, at any moment, God can take that away from me. Mm-hmm. And you've shared your journey up to this point. And one of the things that I hear is that God has given you and he's taken away. in a lot of ways paralleling Job's story. So let's talk about where your identity is, because it can't be in those temporal things.
Yeah, I think I went through the identity having the identity crisis of realizing I had marketed myself so aggressively as a real estate agent, that is what became my identity over the course of my 20s, to the point where I would go and want to just hang out with friends and, just be me. And I would find myself inundated with real estate questions, and the pressure to keep walking onto that stage and be a real estate advisor for even my friends and family. And that identity capitulation, that isolation of myself was self-created, with the good intent to be a great marketer, right? And if I could go back in time, gosh, I wish I've done a little bit more of the Russ approach, which is just be a professional friends maker, but instead I was a professional real estate prospector, right? And so I ended up with a bunch of real estate prospects, but I failed to create, I think, the friendships and relationships that I could have during that time by being overly singularly focused. And so I like to think that, that the real estate component I've shed that as a mask that I have to wear, and more of a tool in the tool belt that I can pull out, but it doesn't encompass me. There was a long time where, my identity as a Christian or a Christ follower, at least as a Christ-leaning spiritualist, even in my lowest of moments, right? Even in my biggest questioning moments, having, a lifelong focus of reading the Gospels and specifically the book of John. In fact, I just got a verse from Ephesians tattooed on my rib with my dad. Like, there's certain passages that are, they say you learn certain timeless things from a timeless text, and they become like words written in your heart. And I think that holds true to me, even in my moments of atheism and agnosticism. There were these just truths that would just reverberate through me. And I was a bad atheist, by the way. So my identity didn't work there. I lasted only about 3 weeks. It just didn't work, right? Because I was driving through all these beautiful parks. So to answer your question, like, who am I? I'm just a son, I'm a created being. I'm a spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. And I'm a son who's learning how to be a father. I think that's really the core of my identity. I'm learning how to be a father by being fathered and mothered, by a force that's bigger than I could possibly articulate or even fully comprehend. And I think that I think I'm someone who's recovering from identity crisis, recovering from the cognitive dissonance of having an audio of like, hey, I'm a Christ follower, but my life doesn't really imitate the teachings of this transcendent role model, right? And hey, I'm a real estate professional, but I don't really want that to be all I am. And hey, I'm trying to mesh these gears together, and it's making a lot of noise, right? Because I'm trying to be this great negotiator and work for my clients and be that bulldog and that shark for my clients' behalf. But what about this other value set? And so I think I'm someone who's been recovering from meshing these gears together to just saying, you know what, I'm a sojourner. I'm a spiritual sojourner. I'm failing forward. If I had to pick any role model on the planet in history, there's a clear name on the top of the list, and that puts me in a lot of relationships, that are dynamic and that challenge me.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I tell you, you're very inspiring, and through all that you've been through, have come out with such a great perspective. I mean, life is not over. Every day we're dealing with ups and downs and learning and growing with God. And so thankful that you are willing to share, like Scott said. I love all you're doing with your business and what it means. And what I really need to have you help me with to wrap this show up today. you have a couple minutes to tie in how your business is really touching people and what your real heart is for your business, and then tell everybody how they get in touch with you. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, guys. Hey, thanks for having me too. I can get to rambling, so I appreciate you guys humoring me.
No worries. You're doing great.
So the mission, Discover Real Estate is the bigger brand. Discover Oregon Real Estate is our Oregon brokerage. Discover Washington is the state we just most recently launched to. And so we're building a global real estate network of really client conscious, community conscious professionals. And so community consciousness to us, and really how this all ties together, is just our mission and our values. Our mission is to facilitate the discovery of community, legacy, and adventure through real estate everywhere. So for us, community means helping people find their people and find their place, introducing our clients to local businesses and experiences, and faith communities as well. I think legacy for us is the belief and the desire we have to leave this world better off having been a part of it. I'd like to think that there could be a fingerprint of, because I showed up here, because I went on this journey in life, I made things better for those that came after me. And so the real practical, money is just energy, and we like to use our energy to bless our community. So we support a lot of nonprofits that are near and dear. There are local causes that are doing that mission well, facilitating the discovery of community and legacy, like Teen Challenge, Adult and Teen Challenge, like Jackson Street Youth Services, actively helping homeless youth. And then there's just the practical, right? Maslow's basic hierarchy of needs. For every deal we close, we plant a tree. And for every deal we close, we now have started setting aside money to drill wells in Uganda. We found out that it only takes about $8,000 to drill a well in Uganda and change the lives for hundreds of people that are either walking miles to get to water every day, or are not drinking clean water. They're walking miles to drink water out of dirt piles. And so, I think those are the practical, focusing on the practical needs that are unmet. I think that's a very Christ-like thing to do. I think he did a good job at that. I think other Christ followers have done a really good job emulating that, like Mother Teresa. Those people inspire me. And I just want our business to be a vehicle to do that more, and to inspire other business owners to jump on board. So we set aside 1% of all revenue, and we ask all other businesses to do the same. 1% of your revenue go towards investing back in your community in a meaningful way, towards the nonprofits that matter to you. Take it from the top line, see what happens.
Awesome. And remind everybody how they get in touch with you, Tim.
You guys can, follow us on socials and Discover Oregon Real Estate or Discover Washington Real Estate. You can send me a text. My cell is 541-250-1065.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you so much, and for being on today. We're going to send you to the green room. Hang tight there for just a second. We'll chat after, but thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tim.
Well, it would help to take the right person out there. There you go. All right. So here we are. Listen, Scott, what amazing. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
What a great story. I knew we were going to have just some great inspiration today. I believe that there are many people who can relate to Tim's story today, and reach out, talk to Russ, talk to myself. We're happy to connect. We're happy to help as best we can.
That's right. And all of his information is in the show notes, and he gave it to you verbally. DORE.LLC. Check that out today. We're thankful that you're here with us today. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your listening viewer pleasure. We go live then, but that's not all, because you can get us on radio as well on the Experience Radio Network. And until next Monday, we're just praying you have a blessed day and a blessed life. See you, everybody. Woo-hoo.
Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.